Greetings and salutations, everyone. Have I got a interview for you right now? Before we jump into it, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost you a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things they do really help the channel to continue to grow and go, and yes, folks, they do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into today's interview, shall we? All right, everybody. Tonight I have a subscriber who emailed me about a month ago with some interesting encounters that her and her daughter had experienced in a couple different states. Dee, how are you tonight?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for taking some time out of your evening to come and share your experiences with us. I appreciate that. And, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say no problem.
And so I'm just going to turn the floor over to you. I know that you know, in your email, you'd said that your daughter had a sighting of a dog man, and you've got a couple of interesting experiences, one with a Bigfoot and one with an alien-like creature. So I'll turn the floor over to you. That way you can share the experiences however you want to share them, okay?
Okay. So, the potential dog man, what happened with that was, you know, my daughter and I had just moved back to New Hampshire. And it was back in January of 2019, and that was a really rough winter. I guess it was just totally out of the norm of, you know, what usually happens back east. It was, you know, one of those really bad winters.
Yeah, it was
you
pretty
guys
bad.
have. Yeah, and so my daughter, you know, we have 4 dogs. And so she would go and take the dogs out, and they'd get up in the middle of the night sometimes, and she would take them out, you know, to go to the bathroom. And we lived in a, you know, apartment when we first, you know, moved back. And, you know, we're on the 2nd floor. And so anyway, she would take the dogs, you know, down to go to the bathroom and, you know, bring them back up. And so this was probably about, you know, I would say it was about 2:30 in the morning. And she had I was up, you know, we were both up because the dogs, you know, woke us up. And so she went to take them down, and, you know, I'd wait for her, and, you know, was doing something. And she, there's a, you know, I guess maybe I should kind of explain this. There's a lady who grooms dogs, and she lived just a couple places down from the apartments where we lived, and she had a house, and so she had her dog grooming business there. And so anyways, my daughter, you know, went to take the dog out, and she came, you know, flying back up into, you know, in through the door, and she, you know, was, you know, all freaked out and upset, and she's like, you know, mom, you know, I just saw this big, huge and she explained this. It looked like, she said it looked like a, she said it looked like a dog, but a big, huge, like, almost like a werewolf or a wolf type creature. And she said it was really big, and she kept saying it's really big. It was just really big, and she kept telling me this, over and over. And so I went out, to look, off the railing and to see what I could see. And she said no, because she's following me, back out. And she said no, it started to go up the side of where she lives. And I guess what happened when she walked down the stairs, she explained she was standing there, and the dog was going to the bathroom. And I have a dog that she barks at everything. And she said the dog, this big, huge thing, came around, and there's, you gotta kind of understand, there's like snow on the ground and ice and whatnot, and there's a light up above, like at the end of their house, and then they have this, this long driveway anyways that leads up to the back where she does her grooming business. But there's this light, and she said this big, huge thing came walking around on all fours. It was on all fours, and it was like sniffing, and it like kind of went up a couple steps, she said, and it was sniffing up like towards the door, like sniffing the wind, like it could smell. Like what we're thinking is that maybe it was looking for something to eat because the winter was so bad,
Right.
And it could smell the animals, the different animals that maybe she would have in and out of that place, because she had a lot of dogs constantly, in and out. And so she said it was like smelling the wind and the air. And then my dog, that normally barks at everything, was like dead silent, just standing there, like didn't know what to do. And she barks at everything. And she even said you could just tell that she was scared. Like she didn't want to, bark or make a peep or anything. And so anyway, she said then it looked over, she said it looked at them, and she thought for sure it was going to start coming towards her, and that's when she ran. And when she was running up the stairs, she said she looked back over, and it started to go up their driveway. And so that's when she finished coming up the stairs and, came through the door, called me through the door to, tell me what had just happened and what she just saw. And so, I wasn't, of course I wasn't going to go down the stairs and go off and go find it, but I couldn't see it from where I'm at because a lot of the places are 2-story. And so I couldn't see into her yard or into the backyard where it, had went. But we did end up, because we talked about this for a while after the incident, and we ended up taking a picture because she kept saying over and over it was so big, it was big, and I had asked her if she, what she had saw, or what it looked like and described, and the whole thing, and she said it had like this, like the ears that stand up, and it did have a long, muzzle, and but it said it was really she said it was really muscular and wide. And so anyways, I had her go down because we were trying to figure out how tall it was, because she was trying to explain where its head came. And so we went, and I actually took a picture of her standing down there, and from where she was at, from where she saw it. And so we estimated it just on all fours. I mean, its head came up 5 feet for sure. It was 5 feet, maybe a little more. I mean, this thing was massive. And she said, I didn't know it was that big, but she said, we didn't really realize until after, because she was telling me where the head came on it and trying to explain to me over and over.
So it was 5 foot taller than she was?
No, it was 5 foot, like where the head came up when it was on all fours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like 5 foot, and where the head came up, like 5 foot, like right around there where the head came up, just on all fours.
That's a huge animal.
Yes, it was huge. Yeah. She kept saying over and over. And she's not the type of, she's just not the type of kid that, would exaggerate.
Right.
She's never been that type of kid. She's just real straight, like matter of fact, type of kid. And so, and she's older. I mean, she wasn't a little kid. I mean, when she saw this thing, I think she was, I want to say she was 13.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Yeah. And what 13-year-old, I mean, literally, you said you were listening to my channel for a couple of years. So probably around, but what 13-year-old knows about Dogman, and, why would a 13-year-old make up something like that randomly, just, out of the blue? Hey, I just saw this huge creature and it's cold and snowy out, and drag her mom out, and, it's definitely something was there.
Right.
Did she comment on like any eye shine or anything? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, yeah. No, she actually didn't know anything about Dogman at the time. And I don't even know, I don't even think I was listening to your channel at that time. I think I started listening to it shortly after is when I actually found your channel.
Right.
And so, yeah, neither one of us really even, thought about anything like that. But the eye shine, I did ask her, I ended up asking her about that later on, after I found your channel. And she said they look like what most people describe, like the amber.
Yep.
Like the glowing, like the yellow amber kind of glowing type eyes, like the yellowish amber type.
Yeah. I'm trying to, I know, and out of anonymity, we're not going to share where this happened, but I know where it happened, and it's pretty close to the Maine New Hampshire border. And I actually had a subscriber, fairly close by to where you were at the time, have an encounter with a Dogman in that area. So yeah, it makes sense to me. And it's very woodsy where this encounter happened too. There's a lot of, I believe there's a state park around there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
definitely, very, very terrifying for a young 13-year-old little girl to see something like that. Wow.
Yes. Yes, she's pretty scared. Yes.
Wow, that's terrifying. So, and you've had no other sightings of that after you guys lived there for a little longer? There was no kind of noises or anything like that you guys didn't hear?
No. But what is interesting is the lady who owns the business, she was having problems with, she had some things that were ruined in her backyard for no reason. And some weird things that she had talked about afterwards, because we would go and get our dog groom there. And she had a fire pit that ended up, somehow it was made out of brick, and part of it ended up getting, I guess, demolished or ruined. And I thought that was strange, like maybe something hit it or stepped on it. And something else I just thought was really weird is she said something really big, like a real big, I don't know what, a stone or a brick. She said it was something real big that was thrown in her pool. She had an above ground pool.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just weird, just some weird stuff. And I don't know if that has anything to do with any of this at all, but it was just strange things that had happened around her property. But yeah.
Yeah, that is strange. Definitely is. I mean, it could be related. It might not be, but, you have to look at everything as the possibility of it being related too. So I understand completely on that.
Yeah.
So with That, how is your daughter now? Like, is she, like, did it affect her in any kind of way? Is she just good completely now with it and everything?
She she still talks about it. It still kind of freaks her out, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
And she thinks about it a lot, you know, and she wonders, you know, if she's going to see anything like that, and or see anything around, you know, where we live now, because there's a lot of woods and whatnot, and you know, so it's always in the back of her mind now, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Same, my 17-year-old saw something weird at a cemetery, and she still, I mean, it doesn't really, like, completely, you know, but she still wonders if she'll hear a weird noise at night, and she'll be like, could that be it? And I'm like, no, that was,
right,
you know, so, yeah, I understand
right,
completely with that, definitely.
right.
Now,
Yeah.
you had previously from, you'd lived in Arizona prior to coming up to the New Hampshire region. You'd experienced a couple weird things out there. Do you want to get into that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You know, you know, like we talked, there's a lot of strange things that happen out there, you know, especially with, you know, different things people see in the sky out there and whatnot.
Yeah.
And a lot of, you know, a lot of UFO type things and whatnot. But, this was really, I mean, this is something that freaked me out. Was, I saw this alien type thing, and I thought it was probably about, and it's been a little while now, but this was probably about September of 2003. It was Labor Day weekend, and I wasn't, it was towards northern Arizona.
Okay.
And I had went to visit, you know, my parents, because my parents live up there. And my boyfriend at the time, we were leaving to go back home, and we left early in the morning because we wanted to, you know, get back before it was too hot, and we had a drive to get back, and we were just leaving their place and, you know, heading back down the hill, and it's crazy. This alien type thing, you know, ran out in front of us and right across the road, and it looked exactly like one of those little aliens, like the smaller aliens that you would see in the movie Alien.
Like the gray alien with the big head, or?
Yes. But the only thing different about it is its head, like the body and the tail and the legs, the legs and the arms, everything looked exactly the same, but the head was a little bit different shaped. It was more, the head was almost like, it wasn't the dome type, like the alien. It was more of like a rectangle type.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it. It was more like a rectangle, almost like a thick type, but like a rectangle type instead of the dome type. But everything else was the same. Like, it was just so crazy. Like, it was just crazy. Like, I just couldn't believe
really
it.
Quick,
Like,
when you said alien, I believe you said like a tail. So you mean like the aliens from like the movie Aliens with Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I was thinking kind of like the gray alien with the bulbous head.
Oh, no.
So like more like the aliens from the xenomorph alien kind of thing. The really creepy looking ones. Yes, okay.
Yeah, the really creepy looking one, like from the movie Alien.
So what was the terrain like around that area? Is it woodsy? I believe northern Arizona is kind of woodsy, right? Or
yeah, it's kind of woodsy. There's pine trees, and there's a lot of like cliffs and rocks, and it's kind of a mixture of things. And this is the same thing. There's a lot of mountains, and it's all mountainous and rocks and things, and then trees and pine trees and everything mixed in.
Okay.
And so, and where we were was, because we're heading back down the mountain, it was it was kind of, I guess, in the middle of like, I mean, because it's all in the middle of these. You're constantly like a lot of the roads and whatnot are like you're driving through. You have mountains on both sides with trees, and there's different levels of everything, you know.
Yeah.
So you can, you know, go down the side of the mountain, and you know it levels off, and then where we were at, there was kind of like where I saw it. There's a small river down below, just below that.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Now, was it bipedally? It was running like on two legs?
No, it was on like all fours. It was down on all fours, like running across the road.
Okay.
And, you know, we had slowed down when we saw this thing because it started coming out. It went from right to left. And, you know, he was actually driving, and he had slowed down, and we were just both, like in awe. Like, we couldn't believe what we were seeing. Yeah. And it just went across, you know, fairly quickly, and then up, you know, started going up the side of the mountain, you know, to the left. And we just couldn't believe it, you know, when we, you know, because it just happened so quick, but we got like a really good look at it because it was right in front of the car. Like we had to slow down because we weren't going that fast to begin with. And, you know, it started to cross right when we were coming up on it, and so we had to slow down, and it just, I mean, thankfully kept going, but, you know, it was just really, I mean, that was something that really kind of freaked me out because it was just so crazy to see something like that. You know, it's like, I couldn't believe I was seeing something that was, you know, like what was in the movie, except
absolutely.
for the head. It was just crazy. It was crazy. But the head was just, like I said, was just shaped.
And it was like a grayish color? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it was like the gray. It was like a gray brownish color.
Okay. And then you didn't notice any fur or anything on it. It was just like a skin kind of. I'm just asking that kind of not to kind of to debunk someone saying, "Oh, you probably saw like some sort of fissure or some," you know what I mean? Like, so there was definitely no fur on this creature. It was more or less just a skin color, like a grayish skin color, and with a rectangular head. Did you notice like any ears or anything on that? I mean, I don't know how good of a look you got at it, but
no, I got a really good look. No ears. I didn't notice any ears. Okay. You know, I could see like the eyes on the side of its head. I could see an eye.
Was there any coloration to those, or were they just blackish, or how did they look?
To me, it was to me, it was like more brown, like the color of the body, more black or brown.
Okay.
Yeah. It was all like one. It just seemed like it was all one consistent color.
Right.
Like everything about it. It was.
Yeah, that's terrifying. Any spines or anything? Did it seem smooth, or were like any kind? I don't mean to keep bothering you, but I'm just like curious of.
No, it looked, like I said, it just looked exactly like the body and the tail and everything, the arms, the legs. I mean, it looked exactly like one of those aliens.
Right.
Like exactly. Wow. Like exactly, except for the head. The head was shaped a little bit different. Yeah. It didn't have the jaw.
Very
it was
scary
crazy.
Looking creature. And,
yes, it was scary.
Yeah. Now, did you notice a mouth, or was there any teeth if you saw that, or was it did it have like a closed mouth, or?
It was closed. The mouth was closed,
okay.
So I didn't see any teeth. Yeah.
Okay. Could you see kind of like where there would be a mouth? Like, was there like, you know, a line or whatever? Kind of like.
Yeah, okay. I could see like from the side. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And it just crossed and went right up kind of a mountainside.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That is. Now, when it was climbing the mountain, was it like, did it appear to have any trouble climbing, or was it just going very, very smoothly?
It was going very smoothly.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow, that's
Yep.
amazing.
And right when it started climbing up, you know, the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the small mountain, you know, on the other side, you know, that's when we passed. I mean, we literally like passed right when it started to climb up, and then.
So it was on your side when it was climbing the mountain. You could see it. It was on your side of the vehicle.
No, it was on his side,
Okay.
and because he was
Right
driving.
to left.
And
Okay, right to left. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that is terrifying.
Yeah. It was pretty scary.
Yeah. Now, what were you guys' reactions like? What were your thoughts on, like, you know, what did we just see?
Yeah, well, my first words out of my mouth, because he was like, he didn't say anything, and my first words out of my mouth were, "Did you see that? Did you just see that?" And I kept saying that. "Did you just see that?" And then he said, "Yes." And I said, and then that's when I just started, you know, "Oh my God, you know, it looked just like, like everything I explained. It looked just like that creature from Aliens and this and that." And then we just, you know, started talking about it, you know, back and forth. I mean, we just couldn't believe, you know, what we had just witnessed, you know.
Yeah, that's a hard one to, I mean, you know, even Dogman, Bigfoot, whatever is strange, but when you see something like that, that's even more strange, because you just don't, you know, I think we're more apt to, our brains are more apt to accept a hairy creature than some sort of, you know, alien looking creature.
Right. That's the last thing I ever expected to see, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's definitely, that is freaky. And it was, what did you say, like, the length, the length was just guesstimating, like height lengthwise?
It was probably, for sure it was probably the whole width of the car.
Okay.
Like the front of the car. So it wasn't like, I mean, it was a good size.
Right. And
but,
that'd be tail to head, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, tail to head, pretty much, yeah. The tail may have been a little bit, yeah, it was probably it may have been a little bit, maybe give or take a little bit, but it was definitely the width, like, of the front of the car.
5-6 feet, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty creepy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah.
So
it reminded me of one of those, like, yeah.
Now it was on all fours. Like, was it the size of like a small dog height wise, or like a German Shepherd, like height wise?
No, it was. I would say it was. Gosh, I would say at least 3.5, maybe 4 feet.
Okay.
Maybe 3.5 feet.
So pretty good
right
size.
Yeah, it was a good size. It was a good size.
Definitely something you're not going to want to meet out on a hiking trail.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a good size, and it was definitely a good size.
Yeah. I mean, I know you said this was in 2013, so it's kind of hard to remember exact details and stuff. So yeah, thank you for kind of, you know, now it was pretty quick, like speed wise, like obviously it had to be pretty quick not to get hit, but you guys weren't, like you said, you weren't speeding, you weren't going uber fast. So
yeah, we weren't going really fast. We were kind of taking our time and just enjoying the drive and enjoying the weather, you know, heading back, and there wasn't really very many cars on the road at all. You know, matter of fact, when we were driving, there was nobody around us at all.
Okay.
And so we were just taking our time to drive back. And we were going fairly slow. I want to say we were only going about 40 miles an hour. I mean, we weren't going very fast.
Right.
Like 35, 40, we were like going slow, just enjoying, you know,
So
the weather before.
it was moving faster than a human being, obviously, to make it across the street before you.
Yeah, because we had seen it, like it started to come out and, you know, out on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were coming up, you know, on it and getting close, and that's when it went out in the road in front of us. And when we were still coming up on it and he started to slow down, and then that's when it, like, crawled and went, you know, right and finished going in front of us and then up the side. So, yeah. And he had been pushing on the brake the whole time because I, you know,
yeah,
I could remember, like, you know, because he kept slowing down, and it, like, went in front of us, you know?
Yeah, definitely don't want to hit. You know, it's if you see something, you're instinctually going to hit the brakes to slow down a little bit. You're not going to slam on the brakes, but wow, that's pretty crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely,
yeah.
Definitely a creepy. I mean, I've heard not a lot. I've only probably read or heard firsthand accounts of a couple of xenomorph alien-like creatures being spotted. I believe one was in North Carolina, and you know, it's almost exactly how that encounter went as well. Just that's creepy, and then to scale a mountainside after, you know, crossing in front of you is still even just like, how the heck is it doing that, you know, and what the heck is that thing? So definitely a mind bender.
yeah.
So that was in Arizona, and as you said prior to that, Arizona is notorious for weird things too. You had any other weird things happen in Arizona?
Just, you know, I've seen things in the sky there before and stuff. They have a lot of, like, UFOs or, you know, the white, you know, like the white round
orbs
type things that, you know, like the UFOs, especially they've been showing, you know, they show a lot of that now on TV, things like that. But that happens a lot there. A lot of people see those things.
Ironically enough, there was a congressional hearing today about UFOs. It was, I believe it was in Congress or Senate. They were talking about, you know, the existence of UFOs.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
So you could, if you were watching Fox today, you got the ultimate entertainment between the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case and then the UFO, the existence of UFOs. So definitely entertainment right there. Now you've had 2 Sasquatch encounters. Are you comfortable with sharing either one of those?
I had one.
One, okay.
One Sasquatch. One Sasquatch encounter, and I'll share that. That was in Southern California,
okay.
And that was a while ago. I was probably about 13, 14 when I saw that. You know, my parents would go up, you know, and they had a place in Southern California, and so we would go there a lot. And, you know, we'd always go hiking, you know, in the forest and whatnot. And so the place that they had, I don't know if it was someone's private land or just part of the forest, you know, part, but there was a barbed wire fence. And, you know, there was a campground over there as well. And so people would, campers and stuff would go through this barbed wire fence, you know, and they'd go walking, you know, into the back and the trails through the forest back there. And so I had went out by myself. You know, it was strange because the day before I was with one of my brothers, and we had, you know, went walking in the front part over that way, and I felt like there was a log over, like a log over there. It was kind of like there's a trail that goes down the side of like this mountain, and it kind of goes down and around to the left, and there's like a ravine on your left side, and there was a big log that that sat up kind of kind of on the side of the mountain, the hill. Or I guess it's more of a hill. It kind of would sit on the side of there, and so my brother and I happened to be out, just doing what kids do, and walk around and just kind of mess around. For things, just looking for something to do. And I kept feeling like something was staring at me. You feel like something's looking at you or watching you. And I kept looking over at that log.
Right.
And I kept waiting like for someone's head to pop out. Like I almost thought like maybe somebody was over there and they were like just, I don't know, spying on people or something, or
right.
whatever. I just kept getting that feeling. And so anyways, then we ended up taking off or whatever. And then the next morning, I decided to go out, by myself. And I went off on that trail, and I was just going to go take a walk on the trail. And then I thought, I headed down the trail and then headed down the ravine. And I was going to keep walking, straight. And I kept looking up at the log, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go check that out and see if I can see, like, someone was, had been behind there, or was sitting behind there, or just kind of see if I could see anything. And so I started walking up the ravine, and I had got close, probably about, it was really close. I want to say I was like maybe 30 feet or so from that log, or about 30 feet or so, I guess. Anyways, this Bigfoot, stood up from behind that log. Maybe it was 30, 40 feet. I was close to this thing. It stood up, and it was pissed off. It gave me a dirty look. I was close to this thing.
Right.
And I froze. I didn't know what else to do. And the only thing I could think of to go through my head was just stop and stand still, as still as you can, almost like when you see a bear or something.
Frozen in fear.
I'm sorry, what?
You're froze with fear, literally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I was froze with fear, and I also froze because all I could think about was, what can I do to not, I just, instinct kicked in, to save myself, try to save myself. And the only thing I can think of, first off, I froze with fear, but secondly, what's going through my head is don't make any move, don't make any kind of move, don't make anything that looks aggressive towards this thing, because he was already pissed. He stood up almost like I had outed him, and he was mad, and he's
he just quickly stood up, revealed himself. The look on his face was just like an angry,
mad.
Yeah. No, were there any noises or anything? Did he growl or anything that you remember?
No.
I know it was a while ago, so.
No, he didn't growl.
Okay.
He didn't make any noises. He just scowled at me, pissed off, really pissed and angry. He was just mad, and he just looked at me, and he locked eyes with me, and I just thought, for sure, I'm gonna die. This is how I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
No one was around. I was the only one. He had ample opportunity if he wanted to kill me easily.
Yeah.
And he was big. He was, I want to say he was about 7 feet. He was about a good 7 feet. 6.5, probably about 6.5, 7 feet. He was big. And I don't know. It was just so scary. But he just looked at me, and we locked eyes, and I just froze, and I didn't, all these things are going through my head,
Yeah.
And I knew I couldn't run, because if I ran, I'd have to go back down the ravine, because the hill was steep, and I'd have to go up the path, which would have to go back towards that way, towards, kind of towards him, because the ravine came down, in a V,
Mm-hmm.
And So it'd be heading back towards that direction, towards him, you know, but up on the hill. And so I just stood there. And so he ended up standing up and he scowled at me and like pissed off. And then he turned to the right and then walked up the hill to the right, but he was gone in like 2 steps, like 2-3 steps.
Wow. And
he was gone up the hill, but he was so mad.
Yeah.
And I just stood there for a second because I was so in shock and I was so scared. And then finally I got it together and I just took off and I, went back up, the other way and out. And that was the last time. I never, ever, went over that way or in that area ever again. I was so scared, after that.
Yeah, I can't blame you at that. I mean, you're 13, 14 years old. The facial expressions, like you said, it looked very angry and aggressive. Was it, obviously you could tell what its facial expression was it almost human-like, kind of?
Yeah.
Could you sense like an intelligence there a lot?
Oh yeah, definitely intelligent, human-like. He had human-like features.
Yeah.
But he was more. He wasn't like. It was like an ape human-like. I could definitely tell he was a male, not because of. It was just because of his body type, like how big he was and wide and yeah, and he had dark eyes. Mm-hmm. He had dark eyes, like black eyes. I mean, I know some people will say they have blue eyes or whatever. He had dark eyes; they were black eyes, but he had white, like almost like human eyes, where you have the white, but his eyes were black, like in the middle.
Right. Like a pupil, like a human being, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Now, would its face, because I've never had an experience with a Bigfoot. I've only seen what I saw when I was younger, and it definitely was not a Bigfoot. You did say humanish, and you did say apish. Would you say? Because I've always been fascinated by Bigfoot, even though my channel says Dogman Encounters. I'm more or less fascinated with anything that's paranormal. So, would you say it was more apish or more human, or pretty much probably side by side the same amount, ape and human combined?
It was, I would say it was combined, but the body was more apish. Uh-huh. And the face is the only thing. The face, he had hair and everything on his face, but it was more human-ish.
Right. Wow.
But still part ape. It's so weird. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. No, I understand. I've seen monkeys and gorillas and stuff in the zoos and stuff like that. And when you see one, you can see. You see intelligence,
right.
But I'm assuming with a Bigfoot, and this is my assumption. Like I said, I've never seen one, but you've obviously had a first-hand account face to face with one, and I'm assuming that you've seen a monkey or whatever at a zoo. Did you see more intelligence than what you would see from a basic ape on these creatures? Because I believe they're smarter than an ape.
Yes, definitely. I feel like he was actually hiding behind the log, and I never got to see how dug out it was or whatever, because he was big, so it's obviously it was dug out, but this log was big anyway. It was really huge, but he was definitely intelligent. He was watching, I feel like he was watching hikers and people that would walk down, but no one would ever walk up over there because there wasn't, a trail.
Right.
And, I just decided to, cut off the trail and, cut off the path, and I was walking, on rocks and leaves and things to, go up because I wanted to go check that log out and look behind the log and see,
Yeah, maybe you startled his resting spot or something.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
I feel like it was close enough to this place to where he wouldn't be like maybe where he would like stay or sleep or anything like that. Like he was just curious
Yeah.
and like wanted to like, curious about humans possibly and wanted to like spy on people because over in this area was like the back of this campground.
Mm-hmm.
And so, people would pass by on the other side of that, the barbed wire fence quite a bit. There was a path just on the property of that property. And so people would pass by and there was things going on, over that way. And there was a couple like campsites over that area, like tent camping.
Yeah.
Over in that part. And so, yeah. So I feel like he was like just curious and like probably spying on people, and that was a good place for him to like, look.
Yeah, and you really chapped his ass because you found his spot. Like
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just interesting.
Right?
I found that I've always, wondered how intelligent these creatures really are. I mean, obviously they're very intelligent to exist in nature and have so limited sightings. I mean, there are sightings, but they're limited, and there's not one in a zoo, so they're obviously smart enough to be avoided. Just to have a face-to-face with one, that must have been terrifying, but kind of awe-inspiring at the same time, I guess, I mean, just like, holy shit, I just saw a Bigfoot face-to-face. And then to kind of think back, wow, it's got intelligence, but it was really upset, and thank God I'm still alive, because a lot of people think that they're cuddly and cute, and I don't think they're cuddly or cute. I don't think they're 100% human hunters, but I think given the chance, they'd hunt us and, take us out without an issue. So.
Right. I feel the same way you do. Yeah, I feel the same way you do about them.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And, I was going to tell you something else. No, I can't remember what I was going to say about it, but yeah.
Oh, I apologize. Sorry.
Yeah, no. That's okay. But, to this day, it took me a long time. I never even mentioned ever seeing that Bigfoot for, gosh, like it took me years. Like I had finally just talked about it and actually mentioned it probably about, I want to say about 4 years ago.
Right.
4 years ago or so. I've held it in and not. And then I also think, 'cause I always think back about it and the situation, and I really wish, I could have lived on the other side of that log, but after all that happened and when, I just wanted out of there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
because I wondered,
a young girl, you're 13, 14 years old, and you just, I mean, it's one thing to think now, back now, oh, I wish I had done that, like I think about, in 1994 when me and my friends were in that cul-de-sac and we went back the next day. Why didn't I just go back into the woodline just a little bit more and look? But it's something that you weren't comfortable with doing then, and it's probably a good thing that you didn't, because who knows if it would have turned around. Maybe it was hiding something there.
Right. Yeah, no, I've always just been curious, like, how much room he had back there, because he was, like, so big,
Yeah.
And that's something that I just think about, like, how could he be so big and, like, just be back there? So I don't know if it was, like, dug out or, or what he had done, if he had burrowed it down a little bit or something. But, it was just, that was pretty scary. But, I definitely thought, that was it. That was it. Like, I just thought for sure he was going to kill me. Like, I just...
Absolutely. Yeah, why wouldn't
it? It was...
I'm going to hit pause really quick because I want to ask you a question, just to see if you're comfortable with sharing something. Hang on one second. All right, guys. So I wanted to make sure that Dee was comfortable sharing something that she had shared with me, because, like, I really... The whole emphasis on the channel and when I talk to people is I want to make sure people are comfortable, and I want to make sure they could they share with what they want to share, and I don't want to step on anybody's feet. So you had something that I'm just recently, within the last 5 years, happened, and I believe it was you and your daughter. Would you like to share that with us?
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, so this happened, and to be exact, it happened on June 19th, 2021.
Okay.
And my daughter and I were driving home, and she happened to look up in the sky, and she saw two tic-tac-shaped craft up in the sky. And she's like, Mom, there's two UFOs up here. And she was watching them, and I couldn't see anything at first, because I was trying to drive, and I was coming up to the stoplight. So I took a left, and I went, we were on our way home, and so I went to a place where it was safe for me to pull over, and I pulled over, and I said, hey, get your cell phone out, film it, start filming it. And so she pulled her cell phone out and started filming it, and the first Tic Tac had taken off when we had turned left, and we had went to pull up. That one had taken off, but the other one was still there, and she started filming it and caught that on video, going from right to left, and then we sat there watching it for a little bit, and I don't know, she filmed it for probably a good couple minutes, and then she just went to, we decided to just keep driving home, and so she went to, stop the video. Now she's taking the video down, but you could see that Tic Tac thing just like speed off, like really fast, because it was going right to left anyways, but it was just kind of going, it was still going, it was just kind of going fairly slow. And then it set off like really quick, like it shot off, and, I was explaining that I had shared it with a friend of mine maybe about 5 months ago, and I had sent it through Facebook Messenger, and I didn't think anything about it, and we talked about it and whatnot, and I have, just kind of, not looked at the video or anything. Well, I just decided to look at it, not too long ago. This was probably about maybe 2 months ago. I happened to pull it up, and I was looking at it, and then I noticed that the end of the video where the white craft had shot off, the Tic Tac craft had shot off really fast, was missing from the video that we took. And I thought that was really strange, like it had been altered. And so I asked my daughter, if hers, she had the full video, and when she went to look at hers had been altered. So it was really strange. And when I went back to look at the video I sent, that had been altered. So I thought, that's weird, because, even if something happened and you hit something in your phone or whatever, maybe you messed something up or cut out a clip or something, you have it in 2 other places. It should be in tags still, right?
Right.
And yeah, so they all 3 had been altered. But I do have part of that video that, I'll send to you.
Yeah.
So you can check that.
I'll attach that to the end of this interview. And it's crazy because when you had shared that with me, I instantly, I was like, and that's why I don't like Facebook. I would much rather, even though our phones and our email is accessible, I think Facebook and Facebook Messenger are more easily accessible to even people who have less intelligence and less range of computer literacy, because you always hear about somebody's Facebook getting hacked, and I really think they can just do, anybody can do anything on Facebook and really distort or take away the truth. So it's definitely a weird, you've got a great video and then all of a sudden part of it's just missing, and it's very strange.
Yeah. It's, part of it's missing in the way it like ended. It was like someone had like altered it intentionally and like ended it before it, you know, showed it like speeding off at those kind of just those kind of speeds, you know, because it's just not normal.
And this was not in Arizona. This was in Maine. We're not going to tell you anybody where in Maine, but I'm familiar with the area, and I can almost envision seeing a UFO in that part of the state, because it's a very strange part of the state out that way. So it's just something that, you know, you'd expect to see kind of in that part of the state almost, you know. So
right. Yeah, a lot of people talk about that, you know.
And I've got a friend that saw something. Actually, his kid is, God, how old is he? He's 6. I think he's 6. And he had gotten up in the middle of the night, and he lives in like the lower section of Maine, but he had gotten up in the middle of the night to a light in his room, and he'd ran and got his mom and dad, woke them up, and, you know, of course they were like, well, it's probably like the neighbor's light or something like that. And sure enough, my friend looks out the window and he sees a UFO. I mean, it wasn't directly into it. It wasn't like Close Encounters of the Third Kind where it's going to take the kid, you know, but it was definitely a light illuminating this poor kid's room. And, you know, sure enough, there was a UFO outside of his window, not right out his window, but visible from his window. And, you know, I've seen some weird stuff in Maine, stuff that I can't explain. And, you know, it's a very strange state. All states are strange, but Maine's just got a weird kind of, just a weird, eerie kind of vibe to it in general.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you like to say anything to end the video? And do me a favor, I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes after we end the video, so don't hang up. But is there anything that you'd like to say to the audience before we end?
Not, I mean, just, you know, I guess just, you know, I think if you keep your eyes open and you're looking around, you never know what you're going to see, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So,
well, it was a pleasure having you on, and I really, you've got me fascinated. You had me like at the edge of my seat, because I hadn't heard these encounters. Every once in a while, I get someone who hasn't shared their encounters with me prior, and this was one of those nights. So with the Dogman and the alien kind of creature, but with the Bigfoot one, I was right there, fascinated by, literally at the edge of my seat, curious about the facial expressions and curious about everything. So thank you so much. It was really a pleasure having you on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on.
Yes. And do me a favor, don't hang up. I'm going to end the video now. So thank you for coming on, and it was a pleasure meeting you.
It was nice meeting you too.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. Your support is what makes this channel very special and allows people to want to share. Thank you. It also is the reason why the channel continues to grow and go, which is appreciated. Everyone, please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, our pets, our family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there, and they are dangerous. Share this information with the people you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions. Never stop searching for the truth. And God bless.